Very
Okay,
nice.
good.
All right. Well, hey, welcome. And we are here with Think Youth Ministry and also with Chris Vacher. Chris is a worship leader from Ontario. He's up in Orangeville at Orangeville Baptist Church. And he also has a blog, chrisfromcanada.com. And Chris recently, with a collaborative effort of worship leaders from across Canada, put together an album called Worship Rises. And it hit in iTunes on Tuesday, July 13th. And currently, I just checked it this morning, it's right in front of ABBA's Greatest Hits, which is quite amazing. So that's a good thing to do, especially if you're going to go and see any ABBA musicals or anything in your city. But anyways, Chris, welcome. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thanks, Jeff.
Chris, why don't you tell us a bit about what has inspired and kind of taken place with Worship Rises? Because obviously there was a time when it didn't exist, and
Yep.
now you guys have an album that's on iTunes. People are picking up the 4 songs that are there. Kind of walk us through how that took place.
Sure. I'm on staff at Orangeville Baptist Church, just outside Toronto, and it'll be almost 5 years that I've been here on staff. I've been a worship leader for 15 years, and had privilege to travel all over Canada and the U.S., a bit of travel overseas leading worship. And for the past 5 years, have been here on staff. Great church, great team. Love it. Great opportunities to be doing some really unique kinds of ministry. About 2 years ago, really started wrestling with two things that I was seeing happening. One was kind of as worship leaders, our willingness, almost too willing, to just import everything from Chris Tomlin or Hillsong or Matt Redman or kind of our favorite worship leaders. And there's nothing wrong with that. They're great songs from great people. My church loves to sing them. We sing all of those songs here in my church, but I was getting a little bit uneasy with just how willing we were to download those songs into our congregations without at the same time really doing the work of digging into what God was doing in local churches here in Canada. To really not spend some time kind of hearing the voice of God for our own local congregations. So that was one thing. The other thing that was going on at the same time was I was looking across the musical landscape, and in every genre of music, whether we like it or not, there are Canadians at the forefront. So Celine Dion, Avril, Nickelback, Michael Bublé, whether we want to claim them as Canadians or not, they are at the top of their game in every genre except for really what's happening in the church.
Right.
There really isn't a lot of recognition globally for what's happening in Canada. But I know the people that are in churches in Canada and are writing music and leading worship, and they're some of the most talented musicians that I know. And when I look at what's happening around the world, I see the same level of talent happening in the Canadian church. So those two things were going on, kind of our willingness to import everything from outside and kind of a lack of recognition for what was happening here in Canada. And I started to dream about this. What would it look like to be part of some kind of catalytic movement that would bring together worship leaders, worship pastors from all over Canada who are committed to the Canadian church and who are committed to ministry, and to begin to develop worship resources for the church? What would that look like? And started to have some conversations with some friends here in Canada, some friends down in Nashville. And over the course of probably 3 or 4 months, it started to kind of come together and bubble up a little bit. And so, during one conversation, this whole dream of Worship Rises was born, where we sort of thought, yeah, there's something here where we could begin to pull Canadians together. And what we talk about doing is that we develop worship resources for and from the Canadian church. That's really the heart of what we're all about.
That's great, man. Thank you very much. And it's good to see when God lays a vision on your heart that you have the veracity to go after it, because we know that if God's going to give it to us, there's obviously something there that we're not going to fail at it because God's in it, right? So that's awesome, man. So Worship Rises hit iTunes on Tuesday, July 13th. How many songs? How much is it? We're obviously going to put the link up for people to go to it and whatnot, but give us what kind of took place as far as, did you guys just get into a room and write all 4 songs in one day,
sure.
or how did that go?
The first answer, the Worship Rises EP is on iTunes, it's on Amazon, it's on every digital platform. You can go to praisecharts.com and get chord charts and lead sheets. You can get the songs there too for worship leaders who want to check that out. Yeah, so it's 4 songs. It released on this past Tuesday, and crazy in Canada, it went up to number 2 on the Christian chart, and it peaked at number 20 on the full iTunes chart. So we were battling it out with Bieber, and we had people on Twitter like rooting for us and rooting against us because they love Justin so much. The songs, it's kind of been a cool thing. Last May, so a year ago and a little bit, we did our first songwriting day. We thought, man, okay, what would this look like? Okay, let's get some people together and start writing. And so the first day we did it in Waterloo, and we had 12 people come. We spent the day together writing in small groups, and out of that we had 5 songs. Not kind of polished and finished, but 5 songs.
Right.
Okay, that's cool. Let's try it again. So last July we did a second day, another maybe 10 or 12 people together, some more groups, some more writing. Another 5 songs came out of that. Oh, okay, that's kind of interesting. So over the course of the fall, we did some rewriting, some refining, tried some of the songs, a few of us in our own churches. And then this past March, we were able to do a writing day in St. Catharines, and thankfully, Paul Balash and Jared Anderson came to be part of our day.
Wow.
And worship leaders know those guys.
Yep.
You may not know the names, but if you're in a church, you probably sing some of their songs.
Yep.
And we had 32 worship pastors from all over Canada come to be part of that writing day in March. Young, old, men, women, white, black, Hispanic, conservative, charismatic, every kind of musical expression gathered together to write songs for the church. And it was a pretty significant day, and it was pretty humbling for me to recognize that, okay, there's a spark of something here that we've managed to catch. And I think we had... I don't know, something like 18 songs come out of that day. It was bananas. Out of that, we had a guy who's been involved in our project. He has got some really great friends down in Nashville, and so they were able to land some A-list musicians to work on recording for us. So they went down to Nashville. I was down there for a day. We worked on some pre-production, and we recorded 3 songs there. We took a 4th song that had already been tracked, a song called Worship Rises that's become kind of an anthem for this movement.
Nice.
We packaged those 4 songs together and just released them in July. So we've still got like another 20 songs that are being finished. And actually, the day before the EP came out, we did our 4th songwriting day back in Waterloo. And we had another 15 or 16 worship leaders there, plus 3 guys who were in other parts of the country joining us on Skype. We've really tried to wrestle the digital thing to the ground. And so those guys joined us on Skype, and songwriting over Skype is a little bit unique. There's another, out of that day, I think 8 or 10 songs. And so this is going to kind of be the pattern for a little while here.
Yep.
We'll write some songs together. We'll see which ones kind of in our own churches people respond to, and then do some recording, share them with other worship leaders. So I'm excited. We're off to a good start. We saw, I mentioned Praise Charts earlier. We've kind of found this really great partner in Praise Charts. These guys, what they do lines up exactly with what we do as far as creating worship resources for the church.
Nice.
And I've been using the stuff that they've been doing for a few years, and so now we get to partner with them. So they're putting together chord charts and lead sheets, basically tools for worship leaders to help you teach the song to your band, teach the songs to your churches, play them better, easier, all that kind of stuff. So we're pretty excited about that too.
That's great. And the one thing I really love about this, Chris, the whole idea behind Worship Rises is that, as any youth minister would attest to, a lot of times when you look at curriculum or you look at a Bible study, it's like, oh, great, someone just kind of threw this together and published it. The one thing I love about Worship Rises is that you guys have been writing this for a while. You're then testing it and using it in the worship services at your church. And
Yep.
so tweaking it as it goes, but then also seeing the resonation between the people in your congregations, the words that you guys have written for your lyrics and those songs, and how God is using those songs, and now releasing them for regular people like us, where we could potentially use it within our youth ministries and within our churches. I love that.